My journey into sport, it stemmed from a place where I didn't feel valuable or good enough. Being a little girl born in a world where you're different and you have a disability, you feel like you are an outcast. And there's this, as humans, naturally, we're social beings, right? And we all search for belonging and meaning. And I'm no exception, it's something that I really wanted, and I wanted that approval and that validation, and I didn't feel like I had it because you're so different. Everybody just looks at you like you're in a wheelchair. It's like you're an alien to the rest of the world. I was on crutches and I wanted to be like everyone else. I didn't want to fall into the narrative of sitting in a wheelchair and falling into that imprisonment of, that's it, it's a life sentence, you're in a wheelchair. And I really tried to keep that energy going and try to keep being able to use my crutches. But as you get more aware into your condition and your surroundings and your environment, and as I hit my teenage years where I'd start to hit puberty and gain weight, I'd eat into my depression sort of thing, and I'd get bigger. There's the getting bigger from just hitting puberty, but then also eating yourself into your sorrows sort of thing. And I thought the only way I can get out of this is if I become active. I guess I did a good thing in getting into sport and being active, but also that was the only way that I thought that I would get any sort of acceptance from society is if I become a Paralympian. Because to me, that's the only way as a person with a disability you'll be valued. Other than that, you're nothing. You're just someone that is incapable. You're at home with no goals, no ambitions. And unfortunately, that's, until now, how society looks at people with disabilities. And I really wanted to break free from that. And I think by starting a journey on sport, it was to break away from that. But little did I know that on that journey, it was the best thing I could do for my mental and physical well-being. I went from being from a tennis player to a wheelchair racer, and now I'm a powerlifter, and actually representing Great Britain, which is something that I haven't been able to do in my other sports, which is a blessing. No matter how fast or strong or skilled you are in a sport, as an adaptive athlete, as I like to call it, not a disabled athlete, because disabled and athlete don't go together, because you're not disabled if you're an athlete, because you are capable, right? And it's, again, that narrative that I disagree with. But I think being an adaptive athlete and being in an environment where you're still, no matter what you achieve in life or how far you've come in sport, till this day, as a grown adult that I am now, people will still look down at me, or will still overlook or underestimate what I can do. And it's like, there are very few women in the world that can bench 92 kilograms. There's men that can't do that, and I'm still looked at as, yeah, she's weak, she's feeble, she's in a wheelchair, that's how she gets around, she can't do anything. And no matter what, throughout my whole journey that I described at the beginning, I've never been able to unshackle myself from that. And I think that's been the biggest obstacle and the biggest barrier to me in sport, and to just my own self-esteem and self-value. I've been, again, in sport for such a long time, and I've had a huge team to be where I am now. And you need that, especially in elite sport or any sport, even at a national level. You need coaches. And I think from my experience, it's been really interesting to see how fearful personal trainers, coaches, are when someone in a wheelchair turns up to a gym and says, I want to join here. Can you help me? And it's almost sort of that freeze of this person is in a wheelchair and they want to come and train here. It's asking those questions and being willing to listen, to learn, and to almost be instructed by someone who is in that situation. Just having those questions being asked is enough, because it gives you the safe space to understand and see that you are being heard, you are valued enough to be asked, how can I accommodate to you? It's something as simple as that. It really is. It's no rocket science, nothing. It's just showing that you care and you want to support, and that's all it takes.
So when we're thinking about barriers really for young people engaging in community sport, I think these are multi-layered really. Lots of the obvious things I think that we always constantly think about. So we're thinking about perhaps cost. You know, it might be the price of the session, or it might be the cost of getting to and from the session, or indeed perhaps even having just some of the right sort of clothing. And I know we do so much in community sport to reduce all that, but still perhaps if everybody else is wearing a pair of trainers and I haven't got a pair of trainers, then there is a cost in that. And I think the more we can do to support some of that obvious stuff is really important. I think there's lots of other pressures though that come on young people. There are other influences that come through peer groups about why are you going to take part in that? Why don't you come with us? What do you want to get involved in that for? And indeed that can stretch into family as well. I think definitely these days young people are put under pressure by family. Maybe there's a degree of taking responsibility for childcare, for siblings, perhaps while parent is holding down an additional job in an evening that takes away free time that young people may have to engage in sport. I guess some of the other things that come to mind is just maybe why would I want to take part in sport, whether just in and of itself. Sport is something that makes us feel a little bit unsure. I don't know what this is going to look like and feel like, and I don't know if I'm going to be okay at this. And that sort of instant feeling that young people sometimes require of, I'm either accepted and I can do it, or up goes the sort of the lack of confidence and the hesitancy to engage in those sessions. I think this is really important to navigate this when we're thinking about young people. Those steps of that little bit of engagement are really complicated, really giving young people the chance to come and to try it, to see it. Maybe just even look, first of all. You don't have to take part, just come, see, feel, taste, smell, listen, and talk about all these really. They're all really important bits to support young people. I guess we've also got to think more widely about where are we delivering in this session. So thinking about the place in the community and how does that feel? Does that feel safe and welcoming and non-threatening? And it makes us think about the balance between inside venues that perhaps come at additional cost, but also support, of course, with the poor weather, but also giving opportunities for young people to be slightly out of sight, versus perhaps more cheaper, more easy accessible open air venues, the parks and the sort of spare pieces of land that may feel a little bit less formal, maybe slightly more attractive for some and less for others. I'm thinking about the coaches. I'm thinking about the people that lead this and their approach and how they convey that approach about what really matters in this space, and thinking about that balance between being able to deliver a really attractive, informal community sport offer that allows young people to try things and not make fools of themselves, feel that they're really progressing, but also balancing that with those all-important soft skills, that reaching out and being able to really welcome and be open and be transparent and be engaging creates a rounded coach that is super important in this space.